I would recommend that this not happen to anybody.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Now today I am reviewing the Mooncool MC3. Now what makes this bike super special is that it has two motors on it, and you can get an option of having a dual battery version as well. We have a lot to cover with this bike, so let's get into it. The Mooncool MC3 is a 26-inch fat tire e-bike. As you can see, it has dual motors, and this version has dual batteries. Now, this is a Class 2 e-bike, which means you can go up to 20 miles an hour via the thumb throttle here on your left or your 5 levels of pedal assist. This does have a cadence sensor, and this bike can be unlocked to Class 3 speeds. I don't know what those speeds are yet, but we're going to find out during this review. The single battery version of this bike weighs 100 pounds. This version that I have here is around 108 pounds, but either way, the maximum payload capacity is 350 pounds. During the time frame of this video, the MC3 sells for $13.99. Now that is only the single battery version of this bike, and it also does not include the fenders or back rack. If you want this full setup like I have here, the cost is about $16.49, but don't fret, because I actually have a discount code that'll help you save even more money. The MC3 comes in two different versions. You have a step-over model like I have, and you have a step-through model as well. With the step-over model, the ideal rider height is from 5'9" to 6'1". The step-over also comes in 4 colors: cool gray, crimson red, army green, and white. The step-through version is good for riders who are 5'1" to 5'8". The step-through version comes in 2 colors. You have a white and a cyan green. Mooncool claims that the MC3 will go between 30 to 45 miles with a single battery, but up to 80 miles with this dual battery version that I have here. Well, you guys know me. We're going to be testing the single version and the double version out for distance today. The MC3 has a 500-watt rear hub motor. It'll peak out at 650 watts, and it has 75 newton meters of torque. It also has a front hub motor that has 500 watts, 650 watts peak with 75 newton meters of torque. That means this bike has the ability to produce 1,300 watts of peak power and 150 newton meters of torque. It has a Shimano 7-speed transmission with LTWU A2 derailleur, along with an A2 7-speed trigger shifter. For stopping power, you have a Star Union Wuxing 2-piston hydraulic brake system with 180 millimeter slotted rotors. The front fork is a beefed up hydraulic front fork. It has 80 millimeters of travel. You can adjust the preload on it and also lock it out. The MC3 is rocking 26 by 4-inch tires. They're made by AWD. They're puncture resistant, and they have a medium aggressive tread to them. When you purchase this bike stock, it's going to come with a single battery version. It's going to be here inside the tube. It is a 48 volt, 14.5 amp hour battery with 696 watt hours of power. Now you can go online and purchase the secondary battery. Right now I got it for $165 online. It mounts to the top right here. As you can see, it just plugs into the bike, making it super easy. This battery is also 48 volt, 14.5 amp hours with 672 watts, giving you a total of 1,368 total watt hours of battery power on this dual drive beast. The bike comes with a 2 amp charger, making it to where you can charge this battery within 6 to 8 hours, but also this battery within 6 to 8 hours as well. When you purchase the secondary battery, well, it doesn't come with a second charger. Since the secondary battery is an additional purchase, well, you end up with 2 keys. You're going to have a key that's going to operate just the battery inside itself, and to get that out, well, you can put your key in the hole, turn it, it pops out a little bit. You're going to turn this little lever right here, and it comes right out. To put it in, well, you just reverse the process. If you want to charge it, though, you can charge it without it being pulled out of the bike by this charging port right here. Same thing with this battery. Just grab your other key, put it in there. You can open it up, pull it out, take the battery off, as I did just there, put it back on, and you're good to go. There is also a charging port on the backside over here. The cool thing about this double battery is that you don't have to get into the controller or do any wiring to make it work Once you attach it to the frame, all you have to do is just plug it in to this part of the bike right there, and it will read both of the batteries at the same time, displaying which battery has the most power. Cockpit Operations. Now on your left hand side here you have this grip. It is a medium type rubber, so it's not too hard, it's not too soft. You have your front brake lever right here. Here is your throttle, and then you have your display, which is here on your left hand side instead of in the middle. Now with this display you have this little button underneath it, and this is what switches it from front wheel drive, dual drive, or rear drive, which I think is pretty awesome. Now right here, to turn the bike on, you're going to hit the M button, hold it down, and then you see you have your normal black and white display. It seems to be very tidy. Right here is going to show us the amount of power that we're putting out. Here is your battery level indicator. It has 6 bars in it for battery indication. This shows you, going to show your current speed, and right here you have your odometer. Now just by hitting the M button, it's going to give us different information like the trip mileage, voltage, current, RM, I don't know what that is, maybe reps per minute, and the amount of time that you are riding or that you're on the bike. Now these plus buttons, well, that's just going to raise you up in different pedal assist levels. As you can see, we have 5, and the minus button will take you down so you can adjust your pedal assist levels. If you hold down the plus button, well, that's going to turn your headlight on. You can see by a little indicator right here. So let's talk about the lights. The headlight is integrated into the battery. So whenever you hit that on the display, it turns your headlight on, but it does not control the backlight. The standard MC3 comes with this battery operated taillight. You just hit the button and you're just going to get a solid light going on. If you hit the button again, well, it doesn't do anything besides turn off. The same thing with the rear taillight if you get the rack system. This light was built into the rack when I got it, and the button to turn it on is right down here. It is not a brake light, it is just a solid tail light, so when you have both of these on, well, this is the view that you get. On your right hand side, well, you have another grip. Here is your rear brake lever. Here is your gearing system. This is going to show you from gear 1 through 7. To lower your gears, you're just going to push in with your thumb, it'll lower the gears, and then you have your index finger back here, which is behind the grip, and whenever you want to raise the gear levels, you're just going to push that in. The bike also comes with a bell. Additional features include you have a quick release seat post, you have a very padded seat. I hope that does very well during this review. You have some metal pedals down there. Now, if you do go ahead and purchase the Fender rear rack system, well, the rear fender is connected to the rack, and it makes it super easy to put this thing together. Plus, this rack will hold up to 55 pounds. Now, let me tell you how it's going to go down today, because this bike has a lot of different things with it. We're going to be testing the front wheel drive, the dual drive, the rear drive when it goes to climbing hills. We're also going to see how the front wheel drive feels when we're out just using it on its own. The same thing with the rear drive. We're going to test it with just one battery. I'm going to leave the second battery unplugged until the first battery is drained. Then we're going to plug the second one in. So let's get out on the road and see how it does. Okay, so our tire is scraping the fenders, and so those are going to have to get some work done to them, and so I'm just going to take them off. So I'm not really sure what's rubbing or where. Like, this doesn't have those adjustable fenders on it. This looks awful close here. Then it also looks awfully close up here as well. So we're just going to pull them off so I can get this review done, and then I'll finagle them and get them to work later. All right, guys, we have the fenders taken off, and that seemed to eliminate the noise. Let's go ahead and see what this bike is like to ride with no power. And just as I thought, no fun. This bike is a heavy bike to ride without any power. So I'm glad I have that extra battery with me today. We're doing about 10 miles an hour riding it without any battery power. We are going to start off by testing the speedometer. All right, we're cruising 18 miles an hour, and it's showing the same thing on the speedometer, so that is good to go. Let's go ahead and check and see how the throttle works with this bike. I have it in pedal assist level 1. We're going to go ahead and hit the throttle and see if it's limited per your pedal assist level. But we have already shot up to 13 miles an hour, 14. Okay, so it is not connected to your pedal assist levels. I also want to let you guys know that I have unlocked the bike, so I'm not even sure how fast this thing will go. So it looks like 25 miles an hour is going to be our top speed as we're able to get with our throttle. Let's go ahead and see how fast we can get up to 25 miles an hour by just using throttle. Here we go.
It takes off gently, so it's not going to pull you ahead or feel like you're going to get thrown off the bike. But once we start moving, well, you start climbing pretty quick in speed. 20, I wonder if we're going to hit it before we hit this hill, going downhill. Boom, 23 seconds. Now, I do want to let you guys know that I have the second battery disconnected from the bike. So right now, everything that we're doing is just off the main battery that is inside the tube of the bike. Now we're going to go ahead and check pedal assist levels. Right now we have it in pedal assist number 1. Oh, I'm taking off in too high of a gear. It seems like the power, though, kicked on rather quickly, so it doesn't matter that I'm in gear 7. It gave me assistance within like half of a crank, so that's good. There's no real delay with this. And we're cruising about 11 miles an hour on pedal assist number 1. Let's go ahead and check out pedal assist number 2. I feel no difference. So, I mean, if we're at 13 miles an hour, so we've jumped up a little bit, but it's not something you're going to feel. All right, pedal assist level 3. Also don't feel much of a difference, but I feel like it's pushing me slower, you know, like we're moving at a higher speed, but you didn't feel that kick when I went ahead and turned that on. 15 miles an hour is what we're cruising at. All right, hit pedal assist level 4, and we're just going a couple of miles faster. If it's even a couple miles, we're at 16 miles an hour on pedal assist level 4. Pedal assist level 5. That is where, yep, see, that's where it's done right here. And if it wasn't unlocked, we'd have hit 20 miles an hour rather easy. Yeah, 25 miles an hour. I'm almost on the verge of ghost pedaling, but I know the trick. When it comes to using a cadence sensor, you just start moving your legs and you don't have to put any pressure. And we're just holding 25 miles an hour. Now we're going to see how fast we can get to the 25 miles an hour just using pedal assist. I dropped it down into gear. We're in gear 3. Ready? Let's go. Just to make it easier on myself. Oh, yeah, let's go. We are going to climb some gears. There it is, 16 seconds. Now our goal is to get to top speed as fast as we can using everything that's available to us. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Boom, 12 seconds. We will be spending this review riding in pedal assist number 5 the entire time. And then when we get low and she starts dragging, well, we'll switch out the battery. We are also using rear wheel drive because I feel like I can get the farthest out of that, or at least that's how we're going to test this first part of our distance. And then when we go to the other battery, we're going to rock the front wheel drive and see how that feels. It is also an extremely windy day here in Chicago, so hopefully the audio is going to turn out okay with this. This is actually my second review with this bike. Right when I got the bike, I ended up taking it up to the cabin and did a mountain bike trail with it to see how well it would do. And man, this thing did excellent. If you want to see that video, well, it's already up. It'll also, I'll link it at the end of this video as well. I can tell this seat's just a little bit harder than some of the other ones, but the way it's curved, like the way that it's shaped, I think is going to be okay, or at least I hope it's going to be okay. Even though this is a big, heavy bike, well, with this setup is over 100 pounds, it doesn't feel like it once you're moving. Let's go ahead and hit our off-road part. Well, I mean, I already know how this is going to do. Now, before, I had an issue with the battery rattling, and I have fixed that by adding felt to the back, because normally this battery would be making noise, but now it doesn't. We are here for the hill climb. Now, I know this bike is an amazing climber when you're in dual mode. Right now, we're going to try it in just using the rear motor and see how it does. Hit the harder part here. I mean, she's not going that fast. Oh, we do have 75 Newton meters of torque to help get us up this thing. And we're just kind of like, just creeping up it. Well, I feel like we're still rattling in the battery just a little. Well, I guess we'll get her figured out. Now we're going to try it just with the front motor and see if pulling us is better than pushing us. So here we go. Kind of feels the same. This is the first time I've done it with something that's front wheel drive. Okay, looks like we're, oh no, is it gonna make it? Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay. I think we're good now. I mean, this, I don't know if you guys can really tell how steep this hill is, but it's pretty steep. But we're making it, and everything just went kind of slow. It was steady, though. We're going to do it one more time. I have it in dual drive, and we should, oh, see, like, there's such a huge difference of putting both of those. We are just screaming up this hill. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That is the fastest we've made it up a hill on any of these reviews. But if you're using them individually, well, I've seen faster. All right, guys, as you can see, this is where I have the extra cable sitting, and it's not connected to the bike. So the rest of this review, until we run out of this battery, will be not connected. All right, let's go see how far we can go. We have made it to Lakeshore Drive, and right here is a beach right in front of me. So we're going to go ahead and test this thing out. We're going to put it in the dual drive because, I mean, if you're going to ride in sand, that's the way to do it. So let's go ahead and see how she does. Oh my gosh. This is so nice. Oh, this thing will just trample right through. Oh, she's a sand eater. Look at that. Whew. Look at these turns. Yeah, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, yeah. Look at that. This thing has no problem just trekking right through the sand. That is awesome. Oh, this bike. Like, what can this bike not do? We have been able to handle each and every terrain we have put this bike on. From a single mountain bike trail to sand to the city, this bike can do it all. Let's go ahead and do our first battery check on mileage. We're down to 4 bars on the battery. Strava shows we've gone 12.29 miles. We're at 47.4% on voltage. So that means we are at about 55% of this battery. All right, let's keep going. Now, while we're testing this battery, I do have it in rear wheel drive. The only time I put it in dual drive is when we did the hill climb and obviously when we went through the sand. But besides that, this mileage that we're doing is just using the rear motor. When it comes to the riding stance on this bike, well, it's, you know, it's a mountain bike, so you're leaning into it. So it does have that more aggressive type feel to it. This seat, nah, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to feel at the end of it. But so far, like the grips and everything feels great. And the controller and everything is smooth with it. I'm really enjoying this bike. I can see where some people might want to put an adjustable stem on this bike just so that you could sit up a little bit higher with it. But for many of you, it's probably not going to be necessary. Soon the weather is going to be getting pretty nasty here in Chicago. And so I'm going to have to figure out how to get these fenders and all that to work right. You know, they're for the bike, but then you can't just put them on and they work. I can tell with that back rack, I think for me to get it away from the tire, because it's just too low to the tire, I'm going to have to put some spacers in between the rack and the frame. And to do that, I'm going to have to put longer bolts in there. And then I'm going to have to figure out that front fender because it doesn't have those adjustable arms on that front fender that would allow me to get it farther away from the tire. Even though this bike is heavy, it does help you feel more grounded, and you just feel like you feel like you're flying with this thing. The geese have moved up here. We're gonna have to go through a lot of geese poop. All right, guys, come on, come on, come on! Look out! 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 We are gonna go ahead and do a brake test. This is brake test number 1. We're gonna go as fast as we can and see how it turns out. Trying to get her up to 25 miles an hour before we get to this sign right here. We're at 23. Ooh, 29 feet. I think we can get her faster. You know what? We're going to go ahead. We're going to plug in the second battery so we can test it with full power. There we go. She just shot up to 5 bars. Here we go. Second battery test. We got full power. Trying to get her up to 25 miles an hour. Come on, baby. 24. 25. Oh, we passed the 30-foot mark. Let's see where we're at. 38. That took a long time to stop, but it felt good. She's a heavy girl. Let's go ahead and unplug this second battery so we can continue on with the test. We are down to one battery left. The bike is cruising at 19 miles an hour. Well, 20. It's cruising at 20 miles an hour. This is another one of those bikes that whenever the battery starts to get low, it doesn't pulse or anything like that. It just doesn't go as fast. Now we are coming up to the end of Lakeshore Trail, and this is the turnaround spot. So now we're going to start heading back south or east, depends on how you look at it. The battery is starting to flash, so we've lost our last bar. Starting to flash, and we're at 41 volts. So let's pull over and see what 41 volts means. All right, right now we're at 44, and that is showing that we are at 35% battery, but it went down. It was flashing. It was like 40.6, which said that we were down to 10% battery. Strava says we're at 19.87 miles right now. We are going to ride this battery until it's blinking, flashing, and done before we switch out. You know, there is definitely comfort knowing that you have this second battery that you can rely on. Ooh, we are dropping down to 15 miles an hour. It is getting harder to ride. We're down to 40.1 on the volts. We don't have much longer before we're going to switch in. Now, I do have to tell you, it is super, super windy today. And I have to tell you, we spent most of that time, a good 70% of that battery, riding into the wind. I've had to kick it into gear 4. We are only doing about 10 miles an hour. And I got to tell you, nobody wants to ride at 10 miles an hour. I wonder if we have throttle. Let's go ahead and give that a shot. All right, we're doing throttle right now. And we are holding 11 miles an hour. So the battery's flashing 11 miles an hour using throttle only. Now I still have the throttle held down and we're just dropping. I mean, we're down to 8 miles an hour, throttle only. I think we're gonna have to switch this battery out here in a minute. All right, we're gonna call it for this battery. I mean, are we totally dead? No, but you're only gonna be doing like 5 to 8 miles an hour. So let's see what Strava says, see where we're at. Strava says that we're at 21.32 miles. That's how much you can expect to get if you're using the single battery version. And if you have beat it up like I have during this review, and you've been riding it with it unlocked at 25 miles an hour, as fast as you can go for as long as you can go. So let's go ahead, add the second battery, and then let's get back to it. All we got to do is plug it in. And just like with the brake test, it's going to give us full power. Look at it, it's climbing up. It's climbing up. Boom. 6 bars again. Oh man, it is so nice. You can just feel the power. You know, once you haven't had it for a little bit, and then you get back to using the power, well, it makes you feel really good. Oh, we have our geese crossing right ahead. Why do I feel like I'm facing into the wind again? Hey, hey, hey. Goal is to avoid all the goose poop. All right, guys, I just turned this into front wheel drive. Now, the funny thing is it immediately drops speed from the cadence sensor. So I'm wondering if I can still coast with it. Oh yeah, we're good. And I got to tell you, you can tell that you're using front wheel drive as opposed to rear wheel drive. You can just feel like you're being pulled as opposed to being pushed. All right, I went ahead and put this back into rear wheel drive because some reason with the front wheel drive and the cadence sensor, it kind of skips a little bit. It kind of has a little hiccup in it. And I don't know if it's just because of how it's reading to go into the front motor as opposed to the rear. But that little hiccup that it would have, well, I find that kind of annoying. And so I put it back into rear wheel drive because that's what I definitely want to ride in. Now, I understand you have to have the front wheel drive to make this bike all wheel drive. And really the only time I feel that I would ever want to kick in that front wheel drive is when I'm using the dual drive on this bike. And when you have that on, I mean, this thing is awesome. I can't wait to ride this in the snow to see how it handles. Oh, the sun is going down. I knew that I was going to be riding this bike in the dark before it was over with. Because I'm not even heading towards home. I'm heading away from home. We're heading south of Chicago. We've already been north to the end of the line for the Lakeshore Trail. So now we turn around and we're heading past, going the opposite direction. And we have 48 volts, 47, 48, somewhere around there. So yeah, man, we got a ways to go. You know, that noise might actually be the controller and not the battery. So I'm going to end up cracking that open, taking a look, because it might just be rattling around and I'm hearing it bounce against the body of the enclosure that it's in. It's showing we have 47.9 on the volts coming out. So let's take a look. Let's do a mileage check, see where we're at with the battery. It now bumped up to 48, but once we take off, it just jumps down. Strava shows that we're at 29.64 miles. We're still doing strong. It stops at 48, but then it jumps down to 47 on volts. Let's take a look at that, on where we are with that. 47, when it jumps down, oh, we still got a lot of battery going left. We're at 55%. We're gonna let it drop down a little bit more until we hit about 45 to 44, and then I'm gonna start heading home. All right, that didn't take us long to get to 44.6. I'm gonna turn around, I'm gonna start heading back because, you know, as I have mentioned before, riding this bike without any power is not ideal, not something I want to do. Plus, this battery is just a little bit smaller than the one that's in the down tube, because that's 696. This is 672. So we're going to have a little bit smaller battery. Don't expect to get the same range out of it. And we're probably still a good 6 to 8 miles from home. It's showing 3 bars, and that's about right when you consider that it was showing that we were at 55% battery left when you were looking at the voltage before. And since it only has like 6 bars for the battery, well, you know, we're at 50%. I mean, just riding this bike, man, you know it's a beast. You know, it's a big bike. It's a muscular bike. You know, you feel very solid, very secure on this thing. And you also feel very capable on it. It shows we have 44.6 volts coming, 2 bars on the battery, and we're still cruising at 24 miles an hour. Oh, we are dropping pretty quick when it comes to battery, and we still got a ways to go. I think I might have overestimated the abilities of this second battery. Oh gosh, I feel it pulsing. Oh no, now it's flashing. Oh my gosh, I am so far from home. All right, I'm gonna have to kick it down into 3 on the pedal assist level, and hopefully we can make it last. She's such a big girl that if I don't make it, man, it's gonna be one heck of a leg workout. Oh gosh, the power just kicked out. Kick back on. Oh, come on, turn on. Oh, I'm down to like 10%, and it's flashing. I'm still a good 6 miles from home on a 108-pound bike. Yowza, how many miles have we gone? Let's see, 35 miles. Man, I know it's gonna take 40 to get home. Yowza. Well, this might be my biggest error on a review so far. All right, so right now I have it in pedal assist 3. You know, I'm going to kick it down into pedal assist 2. I would rather have just some power the entire time than no power. All right, so here's the deal. With both batteries in, bike unlocked, just going as fast as you can for as long as you can, you're only going to get about 35 miles out of it, which is what I showed you on the last mileage check. Right now, this bike is dead, and we have a long way to go to get home. With that being said, man, I really like this bike. Although this will be the last time and the only time that I push it to its limits and run it out of battery power. We have the E06 going, which is telling me that the battery is totally depleted, as I will be once I make it to the house. Remember how happy I was when I plugged in the second battery and had all that power? That enthusiasm's gone. Oh, 41.31 miles. What was that, like 6 miles? Riding this bike with no power? Oh, man, this was a big mistake. But let me show you something while we're here. I did make it back before it got totally dark. But if it would have gotten dark, this would have kept me seen at night. I mean, look at that thing. Plus, it acts like a brake light. So whenever, you know, it feels it has a little gyro in it, and whenever you start to slow down, then the brake light brightens up. It's really, really a cool light. I'm going to keep it on this bike because it's really the only bike that I'm going to ride that needs it. But yeah, I'll give you a link in the description for not only that, but this headlight. Let me show you something that I like about this headlight. It gives me, I have 85% battery after this thing flashing for all that time. And it has multiple different settings for it. But yeah, this thing is pretty awesome. Well, that was a huge mistake. I mean, it was a big one. This bike ran out of battery power at 35.72 miles. And then I had to ride it about another 5.5 miles to get it home. Tell you what, when this bike doesn't have any power, this is not a fun bike to ride. Now, I have to admit, I was surprised that the second battery shorted out at 15 miles when I got almost 22 miles out of the first battery. And to tell you the truth, there's not much difference in size between the two. But this is why I do this, so it's a lesson learned for you and I. But we also have to remember that this bike is unlocked, and I was cruising at 25 miles an hour, going as fast as I can for as long as I can. So now we know if you put it through the very worst conditions, you're going to get about 35 miles out of this bike. Besides that, I would say that this seat, I'm going to end up replacing that. Actually, if you put a suspension seat post on this and a better seat, well, you're going to be in heaven, because when this bike had power, I love everything about this bike. This bike is so much fun when it has power, and especially if you put it in dual mode. Now, just remember, if you put it in dual mode, you're not going to get near the mileage that I got out of this by having it in rear most of all of the time. With that being said, this has to be one of my favorite e-bikes, one of my favorite fat tire e-bikes for sure. Now let's address the rack and the fender situation. I think if you're interested in this bike, I wouldn't spend the money on getting the fenders and the back rack. As you saw with mine, they were rubbing. I had to take them totally off, but I am going to have to work with them to try to figure out how to make them work without rubbing. So if you don't want to have to mess with any of that, I would just save my money and not get the fenders. But I would definitely purchase the second battery if you are interested in this bike. Now, with that said, if you are interested in purchasing this bike, well, you can go ahead and use my link down in the description below. Actually, in the description, I have a couple of different discount codes for you, so you can save even more on the Mooncool MC3. I hope that I am never put in this situation again, or that you're put in this situation to where you have to pedal a 108-pound bike 5.5 miles with hills or no hills. I would have to say that this was my biggest blunder when it comes to testing out an e-bike, and I hope that that never happens to you. But I want to thank you for watching, and until I see you again, enjoy the ride. Just hopefully you have power when you're doing it.